Welcome to Lynn Cullen Live. Talk radio without the static. Email your questions and comments to lynncullenshow@gmail.com. And now your host, Lynn Cullen.
Again, good morning. A meaningless salutation. I have to tell you, reading, let me get it. Just reading the newspaper, the paper of record, that would be the New York Times today, is reading the paper of a nation that is being destroyed. And it is just the headlines. Just the headlines will tell you we are living in, we'd all rather not. Every page. Trump wants to trade Ukraine's rare minerals for our aid. Canada and Mexico, tariffs. China jabbing back, tariffs. Greenland, with Trump in mind, votes to ban foreign this and that. And that's just the international section. You get into the national headlines, and it's one horror after another. And I can see why people say they just can't. Inside Musk's power play to reshape the government. USAID workers brace. Blunt force trying to overthrow existing order in just 2 weeks. These are headlines. EPA set to demote career employees, replace them with Trump loyalists. Another headline, Trump's orders could cost universities millions, few protest. Big retailers close down on DEI. Where are black brands supposed to go? Senate pushes through Kennedy. Panel backs Gabbard. Despite concerns, GOP surrenders to Trump. ICE raids. This is one after another. So when somebody says, I can't, I get it. But here's the thing. You don't have to immerse yourself in the nitty-gritty of it. Fine, just read the headlines. And the headlines will tell you that as we stand here, our country is being destroyed. Hundreds of years of history being destroyed. So much of what we're witnessing is clearly illegal, unconstitutional, and the fact that we cannot respond effectively and immediately does not bode well. I read some disquieting words. I've read many disquieting words. And it is true, the courts will finally decide what's legal and what's illegal, but my sense is the damage will have been done. And here's something. The Constitution ultimately means whatever 5 Supreme Court justices say it means. That's it. The Constitution ultimately means whatever 5 Supreme Court justices say it means. And we've already seen these 5 say that Donald Trump is immune to prosecution, is above the law. So those 5 help set off this. And we have seen that the court's 5 most conservative justices often apply the most right-wing interpretation that they can plausibly defend I would argue even implausibly defend. And then here's another insight that I find frighteningly true. Musk seems to have intuited that he can destroy programs and bureaucratic cultures faster than the system can restore them. Firing officials en masse, throwing people and clients that rely on those programs into confusion and financial risk and even death, striking fear into the whole federal apparatus can break down the institutions and destroy their institutional knowledge. Destruction is rapid. Any idiot, animal, 1-year-old can kick over a great work of art and destroy it in a minute. Creating that great work of art can take a lifetime. We are looking at people who are destroyers, and the only thing they ever even think of creating is more wealth and power for themselves. By the time yesterday was nearing its end for me, and the Gaza, the Gaza stuff hit. I'm. It, it is remarkable, is it not, that we still have the capacity to be stunned. I was stunned in a blunted kind of way, because after all, I had noted a week or so ago when Trump was mulling over, you could see the real estate mogul in him saying something like, Gaza, they got that Mediterranean, they got beaches. You could make a Riviera, you could make a beautiful. He started imagining Trump hotels. And we saw that thought really took hold last night when I, I, uh, I just want to say to all of those lefties and Arab Americans in Michigan who sat it out or voted for Trump because they were angry at Biden for his position on Gaza and Israel, I want to say thank you very much, because you helped, without a doubt, deliver Michigan and its electoral votes to Trump. Are you happy now? How's that working out for you? Just asking. Somebody call up someone you know in Dearborn and see if they're feeling smug or freaked out. I am so enraged at all of the unserious, short-sighted, small-minded people who have brought this on us. And by us, I am saying the world. While Elon, like a crazed a crazed 2-year-old breaking everything he can and just loving it, goes about his destruction. People are literally dying. It's not a metaphor. It's not overstatement. They are literally dying. All of that aid that they have stopped was keeping real human beings alive. Where are the people who were screaming about the Palestinian kids being killed? There are millions that are going to die because of this. How about getting into the streets about them? In Sudan, they are dying. In Khartoum, more than 2/3 of all of the soup kitchens, which have been the only source of food for those poor besieged people, have been shuttered now ever since Musk went in with his bully boy jackbooted techno bros. The communications director of a volunteer organization that was involved in feeding these desperate humans said people are on the brink of starvation anyway. That's why we were giving the aid. They cannot last even 3 days without food. Most of our families were living on 1 meal a day, and we haven't been able to give them that. They are dying. Half the population of Sudan. That's 25 million people. Depend on that food that we were sending. Musk and Trump have stopped on a dime all of the food programs serving millions, not just there. I'm just pointing at one place all over this tortured, beleaguered world. A lot of these places are places that are so dangerous because they're in civil war that big organizations won't go into them. And you've got little ones that are daring to, and their people are dying in the attempt to save people. And we just pulled the rug out from under all of those brave, brave people. All over Africa, soup kitchens can no longer feed the hungry. First responders are unable to reach the wounded or the dead. Mothers and fathers are searching in vain for medicines that keep their children alive. But the mag rats are rejoicing. The white Christian nationalist mag rats are whooping it up. People are dying. The Gaza thing is mind-blowing. It is. Ain't gonna happen. Maybe it's just one of those things we're not supposed to really bother with because ain't gonna happen. But the rage it will kick off at us, the United States, is immeasurable. Could bring us another 9/11 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. This is what happens when you hand power over to unserious felons, grifters, and children. Trump, who said he was going to pull us all out of what? All the wars, didn't want to, the people who put him in, they're America firsters. They don't want no wars. And he yesterday said he might be willing to put American troops in Gaza to protect the real estate. Fuck the people. He said he was going to do what the most right-wing fanatics in Israeli government have dreamt of. Sending the Palestinians packing like so many wandering Jews. And you look at the offhand way in which Trump speaks of this stuff, of destroying people's lives. Never mind their dreams, their hopes, their livelihoods. Look, he says, the Gaza thing has not worked. It's never worked. I think those are the Palestinians, I think they should get a good, fresh, beautiful piece of land, and we get some people to put up the money to build it and make it nice and make it habitable and enjoyable. A piece of land, numerous pieces of land. And he just flat out said the U.S. will take over the Gaza Strip. That is what he said. That's a quote from the President of the United States. We'll own it. That's another direct quote of the President of the United States. The Riviera of the Middle East. Oh, yeah. Yeah. The former head of Trump University is having wet dreams about this scheme. Wow. You can't make it up. So, what the hell are we going to do? I'll tell you, Gigi, one of us, has written in with a action plan of sorts, and that I shared with you. She said that we gotta get on the phone. We gotta be contacting our representatives, and she's been doing that doggedly. And I want to add some other possibilities. I'm serious about this, guys. We got to stop talking and start doing. I might close down shop and just do, because this is getting us nowhere. Outrage gets us nowhere unless it yields to action. And a lot of us are saying, but what? What can we do? Here's something Gigi did, okay? I spent some time this morning attempting to contact Fetterman's office. Now, this will tell you this isn't easy, all the more reason to do it. And keep your eye on Fetterman, as I have said. She's trying to reach Fetterman's office. She wanted many things from him, including an explanation of why he's been voting for Trump's totally incompetent people, including Pam Bondi as Attorney General. She also wanted to ask him why he is in favor of sending U.S. troops to Gaza. Now, Gigi, I hadn't seen that. If he, in fact, is supporting Trump sending U.S. troops to Gaza, our senator, Fetterman, I need to know that. I need to know the source of that. I need to see where he said it. And we need to take him out. What's the difference between him and Dave McCormick now? Dave McCormick actually wears regular clothes. I don't know. Unbelievable. But Gigi says she can't get through to our senator. She could not even reach a human in his office. The line was busy. That bespeaks possibly something good. She finally got to voicemail. Let's hope somebody is even taking all this in. She got the same kind of thing trying to contact Schumer to ask him to stop talking about avocados and outline a counter to the coup. And she finally got voicemail there. We have got to tie their lines up. We have got to have pounds and pounds of letters, snail mail, right, delivered every day, twice a day to their offices. And in order to do that, you got to spend an hour a day sitting down and writing. A friend of mine yesterday said this. She has decided what she can do is, and this is a woman, by the way, who is not by nature political. Not at all. Not at all. But she pays enough attention, and she's understandably freaked. And she wants to do something. So here's what she decided she could do. She got a whole bunch of postcards. She went to the post office and got stamps for postcards. And she told herself that every day, and this will take what? A minute or two? Every day, she's going to, she told herself, write 3 postcards to 3 members of Congress and put them in the mail. That's 15, Monday through Friday, 15 postcards a week she has committed to send. If every one of us did that, we could start something. She figured out the cost. It does require some money. Sending a postcard is 56 cents, believe it or not. But she figured the cost, I forget exactly, down to it's less than $10 a week. And I don't know about you, but I am able, and most, I think, of us might be able to spend $10 a week in the cause of saving our democracy. What is that? 1 coffee at Star fucking Bucks? Commit. And don't think of it as a New Year's resolution. This is more serious. Commit to something that seems as inconsequential as that. Because I think paper in hand has more of an impact than a voice on a machine and or a phone ringing. It is tangible. It is something that's coming into their office, intruding into their offices. What if every one of us did that? And if some of us are able to do 10 a day, maybe you target, I don't know. I don't know. But unless people start acting, Some people don't have the time. Single mothers who are working a job and trying to raise children and feeding them and all of that, they might not. But I'll tell you, people like me, anybody who is retired, semi-retired, doesn't have children or other people that they have to care for, we have time. Let's use it. And if they don't respond, because Ed's saying I sent Pat Toomey emails every week during it, and he never addressed them, fine, he got them. Keep them coming in. You think they don't count? You think they don't start seeing something? Collective action. Poor little us. We have no power. Collectively, we have awesome power. But we've got individually to care enough to join others and exercise it. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. The Philadelphia Inquirer, Gigi is sending me that the Philadelphia Inquirer broke the story about Fetterman. No, they're not letting me in. I'm hitting a paywall. But the headline is Fetterman reportedly calls Trump's proposal to occupy Gaza provocative, but does not dismiss the idea. Well, okay, that's more than supporting it, but it seems like classic Fetterman now. Not willing to condemn. That is a contemptible idea, an insane idea. And for Fetterman not to call it merely provocative, everything Trump does is provocative. That's saying nothing. And if he refused to dismiss the idea, that's saying plenty. Wow. I was mentioning yesterday that even people in the know, in the inner circles of this destructive crowd, are stunned at the speed with which they are doing their destruction, and at the fact that they are doing things that the guy had said, and I shared this with you yesterday, said we would just jokingly talk about heritage cocktail parties, and he's doing all of it. So there is something on, just like Project 2025 was on paper, there's also a document being circulated right now on Capitol Hill, specifically by the House Budget Committee. And it has in print 200 items, mostly involving cuts they intend to make. And guys, you need to hear this. Okay? The New York Times did 2 full pages, small print of some of this stuff. I will just give you a tiny snapshot. Here is the intent, and we now see there is nothing too unbelievable that they won't do. And this they've put in writing already. This is what they intend to do. Establish Medicaid work requirements. Repeal nursing home minimum staffing rules. I'll try not to comment. I'm just going to, in no particular order. Remove incentives to expand Medicaid. In other words, if a state wants to expand Medicaid, the feds are going to somehow come in and roll back other monies that they may give them. Okay, just want to clarify. Eliminate the individual and business state and local tax deduction. Any of these that are going to impact you, get ready. This is on their lists. Eliminate the mortgage interest deduction. Now, those two deductions are, for many people, I think the biggest deductions they have. They want to get rid of both. Lower the corporate tax rate to 15%. Why bother? Most of them don't pay anything anyway. Eliminate the estate tax. This is, oh God. Eliminate nonprofit status for hospitals. That is one I actually agree with. Repeal the corporate alternative minimum tax. That, by the way, is something that was a Biden initiative in the Inflation Reduction Act. Eliminate head of household tax status, which would, by the way, immediately increase taxes for people who are not married but have children, which is a whole bunch of people. Eliminate deductions for charitable gifts to health organizations. Tax scholarship income. Eliminate employer-paid transportation benefits. Tax credit unions. Eliminate student loan internet deductions. Guys, I have taken just like, that's from one page, and I've done about 1/10 of the things on that one page. And as I said, gone are the days when people could say, oh, they're just saying that. That's just a wish list. They're not going to really do it. No one can say that anymore. That ain't flying anymore. Let me go on to a few from the second page, okay? This is, as I said, on paper. I'm not making any of this up. And it's put together by mag-rats in the Congress, specifically the Budget Committee. And it's being circulated. This is what we're going to do. Cut food benefits. Eliminate social services block grants. Reduce temporary assistance for needy families. Man, what is it about poor people and people in need that these rich sons of bitches hate? It reminds me of this quote I saw decades ago that just blew my mind at the time. And it's clearly what these people actually believe. They believe that the problem with this country is the poor people have all the money. They want to restrict eligibility for food stamps. They want to expand work requirements for food stamps. They want to restrict school-wide free meals. Fuck those hungry kids. They want to repeal all green energy tax credits. What I should stop saying wanna to they're going to, because so far we have not seen any indication that they don't do what they want to do. And the ability of Democrats to stop them, non-existent, simply because they don't have the numbers, simply because the people didn't vote for them. And if Democrats don't start doing some soul searching about that and their guilt in all of this, well, that would be a shame. Yes, expand offshore oil and natural gas leasing, expand onshore oil and natural gas leasing, restore non-competitive oil and gas leasing. What? And reopen ANWR. Yeah, fuck that Arctic National Wildlife Refuge. And I just two more and I'll stop. Repeal science funding. Okay, And they're not saying repeal the Clean Water Act. No, just modify it. Modify it into non-existence. Okay, that's it, guys. hmm Any of those things I just shared with you that will have a truly negative impact on any of your friends and or family members who incredibly stupidly voted for these sons of bitches, please share that with them. Boy, boy. Hey, just to give us some respite, tomorrow, I'm not doing any of this tomorrow. I'm having a guest, uh, incredible woman, um, who does work in schools and jails. Amazing work. And she is an artist, an actress, an activist, brilliant, and it will it will remind you remind you of the impact one person can have. So I'm really looking forward to having this extraordinary woman on. That's tomorrow. None of this shit tomorrow. None of it. Um, Although I'm going to continue with this shit now. A few other things I just want to share with you. I saw two pieces of, seemingly little bits of information. I mean, the things that are being covered are, understandably being covered. Um, but there are other stuff that is slipping. I mean, stuff that would otherwise in a uh, normal America be huge news is now not even making it into the newspapers. It's just sliding by. So consequential, important stuff, and it just isn't rising. Oh, thank you. Let me just do this. Gigi found the article and got it to me somehow. Uh, Here's Fetterman's words. It's a provocative part of the conversation, but it's part of the conversation. And that's where we are. Fetterman was in Washington to vote as the only Democrat supporting Trump nominee Pam Bondi for Attorney General. Wow. Wow. I think he thinks he's going after the Jewish vote, and maybe it'll get him some Jewish votes. But I'm a Jew, Fetterman, and this costs you this Jew's vote. Jews are no monolith. He went on to say the Palestinians have refused or they've been unwilling to deliver a government that provided security and economic development for themselves. I don't disagree with that. They allowed 10/7 to occur, and now Gaza has to be rebuilt. I agree with that. Where are the people going to live? Where they're going to go? So it's part of a conversation. What is he talking about? When you rebuild a country, you don't send everybody in it out of it. What's he talking about? Politico also reported that Fetterman, when he was asked if he wanted to see the U.S. physically involved in Gaza, including with troops, said, they'll certainly be a part of it. I don't know what the role is, but they're obviously a part of it. A spokesman for Fetterman could not be reached for comment. Well, I got news for Fetterman. I mean, if he's if he's our representative, then he's got to be available. Gigi couldn't reach anyone in his office. Here's a major media outlet not being able to reach anybody in his office. You can't make these provocative remarks and then disappear. Okay. Um, I I just want to share with you these other things I saw, and maybe they've been reported on. I don't know, but Trump put out something. It is my pleasure to nominate Joe Kent as the director of the National Counterterrorism Center. Okay, now let me now tell you something more about this wonderful Joe Kent, who's now heading our National Counterterrorism Center. Joe Kent has employed Proud Boys and Patriot Front members. He's palsy-walsy with Nick Fuentes. These are all these anti-Semite, racist, fascists, white nationalists, KKK types, okay? And he's gone on podcasts and interviews with Nazi YouTube guys. This is who now is heading our National Counterterrorism Center. I don't suppose that he's going to consider right-wing terror as something worth fighting. No, he probably thinks of me as a terrorist. Yeah, he'll counter anything to the right, I mean, to the left of John Fetterman, I suppose. Okay, just pointing that out. And speaking of the Proud Boys, one other piece of good news yesterday was that a judge ruled that a black church in Washington, D.C. now controls the trademark Proud Boys. Anything with Proud Boys, merch, anything on it, that now is owned by an AME church in D.C., and the Proud Boys don't own their name anymore. And that is because they vandalized that church. The church took them to court, and that is the brilliant result. The church won a $3 million judgment against them, and they can't pay it. So the judge said, well, here's how we're going to pay it. You can control the trademark. And another employment thing that Trump put out again. I am pleased to announce that Sean Parnell will be the assistant to the Secretary of Defense for Public Affairs and be the chief Pentagon spokesman. A great American patriot, Sean is a fearless veteran. If the name is ringing a bell, guys, Sean Parnell is from these parts. Sean Parnell was the guy that Trump endorsed for Toomey's Senate seat in the primaries. And then Parnell, well, he ended up withdrawing because, well, there was some ugly kind of stuff about what? Him abusing his wife and children that was so intense and unbelievable. I mean, forcing his pregnant wife out onto a highway. I mean, just unbelievable stuff. And when that crap hit the news, he was forced to not seek elective office. But not to worry, not to worry. Trump has his back. And he even says, congratulations to Sean, his wonderful battered wife, and their battered 5 children. Well, he didn't put the battered in, but there it is. Just want to, make sure you're up to speed on the horror show. Okay. Want to point out some stuff from Turning Points memo, Talking Points memo, Josh Marshall. These are people who I follow, pay attention to, and I'm looking for it, not finding it. Hang on. Yeah, Talking Points memo, excuse me. This has to do with these kids who Musk has given the computer system for all the money in the country, the US Treasury system, all your Social Security pay, everything, veterans payment, everything, all contracts, all the money that comes through the US government is now in the hands of a 25-year-old kid. I kid you not. I can't make it up. Remember we were naming names yesterday? Well, we got this name. His name is Elez, is his last name. It says here, Josh Marshall reported that his sources said that Elez and possibly others got full access to the Treasury computers on Friday, and that they have already made extensive changes to the code base for the payment system. These are unelected people who now have control of all the money in the country. Never mind that the Constitution gives that control to the Congress. Never mind. This is mind-blowing. This goes on. They are leaning on existing Treasury staff for help, which those workers have provided reluctantly in hopes of keeping the entire system from crashing. Marshall reports the staffers are, quote, freaking out, end quote. The changes that will be made, sources also tell him, all seem to relate to creating new paths. Here's what they're doing. These tech bros, these little guys, 25-year-old guy is creating new paths to block payments and possibly leave less visibility into what has been blocked. So they're going to be, oh God, I don't know. Both the New York Times and Wired have reported that Musk's team intends to cut government workers and use artificial intelligence to make budget cuts and to find waste and abuse in the government. That's happening right now. That's happening right now. I was having fantasies of eventually seeing these guys put up in front of a firing squad. I mean, this is traitorous behavior. This is a clear attempt, and so far successful, to wrest control of the government of the United States of America. These people are unelected. All right, here. Sorry, rattling papers. David Brooks had a piece the other day. I'm just going to share a little bit of it with you. It was titled The Six Principles of Stupidity. And he says, and I mean, there's things that are, worth thinking about here. He says, I define stupidity as behaving in a way that ignores this question: what would happen next? Okay, let's keep that definition because I like that one too. Stupid is when you take a stand or make an action and you never consider what would happen next. And he's then goes on to list a bunch of stupid. And it's almost everything, of course, that this administration has done in its first 2 weeks, clearly never having asked that question, just done it. And then I like the metaphor. He says these Trump policies are like trying to cure acne with decapitation. And it's a different way of, sledgehammer. Thinking in terms, my metaphor is always a sledgehammer where a nail would do. The refusal to look at anything in a granular way. Yeah, you got acne, cut your head off, it's gone. And again, when you look at what they're doing, these are stupid people. You can tell me Elon Musk is brilliant, he's a genius. No, he's stupid. And I know plenty of so-called geniuses who I would say are stupid. Because when it comes to actual life, they are incapable of asking that question. What had happened next? Brooks goes on, what happens when the government freezes $3 trillion in spending with a 2-page memo that reads like it was written by an intern? Stupid. When you create an organization in which one man has all the power and everybody else has to flatter his ego and preconceptions, then stupidity will surely result. He says, you may have heard of the Dunning-Kruger effect. The Dunning-Kruger effect is that incompetent people don't have the skills to recognize they're incompetent. So we now have a corollary, the Hegseth-Gabbard corollary. You can go on, but there's a million corollaries here now. The incompetent don't have the skill to recognize their own incompetence. And here's the one we are finding out. Stupidity is nearly impossible to oppose because stupid actions do not make sense. They invariably come as a surprise, and reasonable arguments fall on deaf ears. Facts are deemed irrelevant because in all of this, the stupid person is always self-satisfied. And being, they just know that what they're doing is just fine and dandy, and they get easily irritated if you try to throw facts at them. And then they could become dangerous because they get defensive and might go on the attack. And the final principle he comes up with, his principle is the opposite of stupidity. And this is an important one. The opposite of stupidity is not intelligence. It's rationality. He goes on to say, people in the grip of the populist mindset tend to be contemptuous of experience, prudence, expertise. All of these are components of rationality. And consequently, populists are willing to believe anything. Folk tales, internet legends, conspiracy theories, it doesn't matter that vaccines kill children. They don't live within a structured body of thought, but within what Brooks calls a rave party chaos of prejudices. And what we're going to see is stupid for the next 4 years. Stupid by people who have seized all power, and they're assaulting and destroying everyone and everything, including themselves and their followers and the people who put them in power, because, well, it's stupid. A few quick obits. The woman, the extraordinary woman behind an extraordinary man, Marion Wiesel, the wife to Elie Wiesel. After he survived the Holocaust and he began writing, he was a sort of insular, passionate intellectual, not sleeping for days, forgetting to eat. He did not have a public persona at all. The revered Rabbi Menachem Schneerson actually wrote him a personal plea saying, Elie, you gotta get married. You need to have children. And the rabbi said, Elie, having children would be a repudiation of the Nazis. They couldn't kill you, and now you're going to make more Jews. And it fell on deaf ears with Wiesel. He said, I don't want to bring more Jews into this world. And then he met Marion. And she, well, with him, helped bring one Jew into the world, his son, and she translated his works, and she gave him so much. Everybody who knew them said, it's just amazing what she did. And she made him into the public intellectual that we then knew. And I had the extraordinary honor of spending some time with. A few more obits, extraordinary women. Oh, I'm running out of time real quick. Loretta Ford. The next two obits are women who lived to be 104. Yowza. And in that over century of life, both did something. Loretta Ford, 104. She was a nurse. She had the idea that nurses could do more. She was a nurse at a time when doctors, treated nurses like, well, secretaries were treated, right? She came up with an idea of an academic program that would make nurses into nurse practitioners. She's the one who came up with that. It is, by the way, one of the fastest growing fields, not just in healthcare, but everywhere. Last year, U.S. News and World Report ranked it the top job in the country in terms of salary potential, job satisfaction, and career opportunities. Loretta Ford made it up out of whole cloth because of her experience as a nurse. With her work, this happened, she co-founded something at the University of Colorado that started it off in 1965. And in the 70s, she and other nurses who graduated from her program faced a lot of resistance from doctors who scoffed at the idea of nurses wielding influence in any way. And one of the nurses says, "We got hate mail." Her fiance was killed in combat in World War II, 1942. And she decided to take his place. She joined the U.S. Army Air Nurse Corps. But she was disqualified from flying because of poor eyesight, and by the end of the war, she was a nurse based in a hospital in Denver where she did her extraordinary work. And by the time she retired in 1986, there were thousands and thousands of licensed nurse practitioners in this country and many, many doctors who couldn't live without them. Okay, there's that. And then quickly, Iris Cummings Critchell. Iris Cummings Critchell died at the age of 104. She competed in the 1936 Summer Olympics in Berlin, the one, of course, that Adolf Hitler oversaw and that Jesse Owens triumphed at. But her claim to fame was she was an influential aviator. Here's another 104-year-old woman who spent a lot of time wanting to fly. She put aside competitive swimming to do flying. And by the time the U.S. entered World War II, she had joined the elite unit known as the Women's Air Force Service Pilots based in Long Beach, and she was flying fighter jets and bombers that were being made in California across country that were then loaded onto ships and being sent to England. And she went on to teach aviation. She ended up being a teacher of a number of people who ended up being astronauts. And there you have it. She developed manuals for the FAA. What? A DEI hire at the FAA. And she was the one who did examinations of pilots to see if they were good enough to get licensed. What? A woman? Okay, that's Iris Cummings Critchell and Loretta Ford. Long lives, important lives. God bless them. Okay, remember, Respite Tomorrow. We're going to talk to a woman doing extraordinary work with underserved populations, the kind of people that Trump and Musk would throw out a window, right? Let's talk to the good people, and we'll do that tomorrow. I will, believe me, look forward to it. The horrors will continue, but they don't need us doing play-by-play.
Lynn Cullen Live, Monday through Thursday from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. and archived at pghcitypaper.com. The opinions expressed on Lynn Cullen Live are those of the host and do not necessarily reflect the viewpoints of Pittsburgh City Paper or its advertisers.